When you look at your life, ask yourself one question: who's really stopping me? Most people don't fail because life is unfair. They fail because they stop believing in themselves. They bury their own potential under the weight of doubt, fear, and excuses. Listen, you can have the dream, the plan, the resources, but if you don't have belief in yourself, you'll never move. Belief is the spark that lights the fire of greatness. Without it, even the best opportunities fade into dust. You must understand, life doesn't give power to the talented, it gives power to the convinced. The world bends for the one who refuses to doubt. Every invention, every success story, every breakthrough you've ever heard about, it all began with someone who simply decided, I will not quit on myself. And when you believe in yourself, something miraculous happens. Your mind starts to create ways to make it possible. Belief activates creativity, persistence, and focus. There will be voices that tell you you're not enough, people who project their fears onto you, and moments where everything around you screams, impossible. But that's when you must stand taller. That's when you tell yourself, I'm not waiting for proof, I am the proof. Because belief is not about evidence, it's about decision. Decide that you will win. Decide that you are capable. Decide that your vision is valid. Don't let the size of your dream intimidate you. Let it excite you. The greater the dream, the stronger your belief must be. When you believe, you unlock energy that no external force can give. You start attracting opportunities, ideas, and people that align with your purpose. Belief is the foundation on which destiny is built. If you build your life on self-doubt, everything collapses. But when you build it on belief, everything becomes possible. Remember, success doesn't come to those who wish. It comes to those who believe enough to act. When you act on belief, you step into a new reality. The walls of limitation begin to fall. So stop asking if you're ready. Believe you are. Stop waiting for approval. Believe you are enough. And stop thinking small. Believe bigger. You must believe in yourself because no one else will do it for you. Your destiny was designed for your belief, not your comfort. So walk with confidence, even when the path is dark. Move with faith, even when the results are unseen. Because when you believe, everything shifts. Possibilities multiply and mountains move. Everything becomes possible when you decide to believe in the power within you. Belief is the seed of greatness. Everything begins within the mind. Everything you will ever become, every dream you will ever manifest, every goal you will ever reach starts in one place. Your mind. The mind is the soil of destiny. If you plant the seed of belief there, it grows into power, confidence, and results. But if you plant out, it grows into fear, hesitation, and regret. Most people underestimate how powerful belief truly is. They think success is about luck or resources or connections. But the truth is, none of that matters if your mind isn't fertile with belief. Think about it. Every great achievement humanity has ever witnessed began as an invisible thought. Someone believed they could make light when there was only darkness, and the light bulb was born. Someone believed humans could fly and airplanes became real. Belief always comes before proof. It is the inner voice that says, even though I can't see it yet, I know it's possible. And that's what separates dreamers from doers. When you wake up every morning, your belief determines how you see your day. A person without belief sees problems, while a person with belief sees possibilities. One says, I can't do this. And the other says, how can I make this work? The difference is not in intelligence, not in opportunity, but in mindset. Belief shapes how you interpret your reality. It's like wearing lenses. Whatever you believe, you begin to see evidence of it. If you believe you are a failure, your mind will find reasons to confirm it. But if you believe you are capable, your mind will find solutions to prove it. There was a man who worked as a janitor in a big building. Every day he cleaned the floors and emptied trash bins while watching the executives walk by in suits. One day he said to himself, I'm tired of cleaning other people's offices. One day they'll work for me. People laughed at him. They said, you can't even afford a car. But he believed. Every night after work, he read business books, took online courses, saved every extra penny and planned his future. Years later, he opened a small cleaning company, then it grew. Eventually, his company became one of the largest commercial cleaning businesses in his city. And you know what's beautiful? He ended up signing a contract to clean the same building where he used to mop floors. Belief made that possible. It wasn't money, it wasn't education, it was belief. Belief gives birth to discipline. When you believe in something, you don't need motivation every day. You move because you're convinced. Belief turns effort into passion. Belief turns routine into purpose. When you believe in your potential, you start acting differently. You talk differently, walk differently, think differently. Your energy changes. You stop complaining and start creating. You stop blaming and start building. Belief rewires the way you respond to challenges. Instead of saying, "This is too hard," you start saying, "This is preparing me for something greater." Look around you. Most people aren't living their dreams, not because they can't, but because they don't believe they can. They've been conditioned by failure, by criticism, by fear. Someone once told them, "You're not good enough." And they believed it. That's the tragedy. Belief works both ways. If you believe in limitation, you will live limited. But if you believe in expansion, you will grow beyond anything you imagined. Your mind doesn't care which seed you plant. It will grow whatever you feed it. When a farmer plants a seed, he doesn't see results immediately. He doesn't dig up the soil every morning to check if it's growing. He believes the process. He waters it, protects it, and waits patiently. Belief works the same way. Just because you don't see results today doesn't mean your seed isn't growing. Sometimes growth happens underground, silently, where no one can see it. And that's where most people quit. They lose faith before the breakthrough. But those who believe, who nurture their dreams even when nothing seems to change, eventually see the fruit of their faith. Imagine a young woman who dreams of becoming a doctor. Her family can't afford medical school, and everyone tells her to give up. But she believes. She works part-time jobs, studies late at night, applies for scholarships, and faces rejection after rejection. But she keeps going because her belief is stronger than her pain. Years later, she walks across that graduation stage, holding her degree, tears in her eyes. Not because it was easy, but because she never stopped believing. Belief made her unstoppable. Belief doesn't ignore reality. It transforms it. When you believe, your mind begins to create solutions your eyes couldn't see before. Belief stretches your imagination and pulls out hidden strength. You start attracting opportunities that match your confidence. Doors open because people feel your certainty. The world respects those who are sure of themselves. People follow conviction, not confusion. But belief is not a one-time decision. It's a daily commitment. Every morning you must remind yourself who you are and what you're capable of. You must protect your mind from doubt like a warrior protects his fortress, because negativity is always trying to break in. Life will test your belief. It will throw setbacks, disappointments, and delays your way, not to destroy you, but to prove how badly you want it. Believe that you can rise even when you fall. Believe that your story is not finished just because it's difficult right now. Believe that you have within you the power to rewrite your future. No one can believe for you. People can support you, they can cheer you on, but the seed must come from you. And once you plant it deeply in your heart, everything begins to change. The impossible starts to bend, the unseen starts to move. Belief doesn't just change what's outside, it changes who you are inside. So the next time someone says you can't do it, smile and say, "Watch me." Because belief turns mockery into motivation. And when you live with that kind of mindset, when you truly believe that greatness is already within you, there is nothing, absolutely nothing you can't become. Self-doubt is the thief of destiny. Protect your mind from negative voices. Nothing destroys potential faster than the quiet voice inside that whispers, "You're not good enough." It's not the world that kills dreams. It's the doubt we allow to live rent-free in our minds. Self-doubt doesn't come all at once. It creeps in slowly, disguised as logic, disguised as caution, disguised as humility. It tells you to play small, to wait to be realistic. It convinces you that you're not ready, and before you know it, years have passed, and your dreams have turned into what-ifs. Self-doubt is subtle. It sounds like your own voice, but it's not your truth. It's your fear pretending to protect you. It says, "Don't try, you'll embarrass yourself." It says, "Others are better than you." It says, "Why even start?" And every time you listen, you give it more power. The danger is, self-doubt doesn't just stop you from taking action. It rewrites your identity. You start seeing yourself through the lens of limitation, and your potential begins to fade beneath insecurity. Imagine a child who loves to draw. They spend hours sketching on paper filled with joy and imagination. One day someone says, "That doesn't look real," or "You're not good at art." The child doesn't argue, they simply stop drawing. Not because they lost the skill, but because they began to doubt. That's how self-doubt steals destiny. It silences the expression of your gift. It doesn't have to destroy you violently. It just needs you to stop believing. Think of the people you admire, the successful, the impactful, the bold. They all faced moments of doubt. But the difference is they didn't let it control them. They felt the fear and acted anyway. Because courage is not the absence of doubt, it's the decision to move despite it. When you silence the negative voices, you give space for belief to grow. Your mind is like a garden. If you don't pull out the weeds of doubt, they'll choke the flowers of faith. One of the greatest tragedies in life is wasted potential. How many people go to their graves full of unfulfilled dreams, not because they lacked ability, but because they doubted themselves? They waited for the perfect time, the perfect condition, the perfect confidence, and none of it ever came. They didn't fail because they were incapable. They failed because they never tried. Self-doubt paralyzes you with hesitation. It tells you to wait until you're ready, but you're never truly ready for greatness. You grow into it. There's a story of a young man who wanted to start a business but kept delaying. He told himself, I'll start when I have more money, more experience, more support. Years passed, and each time he found another reason to wait. One day, he realized that the people who once supported him had moved on and built their own dreams. The opportunity was gone, not because it disappeared, but because he doubted himself out of it. If you keep questioning your ability, life will keep proving you right. Self-doubt is a thief that doesn't need permission to enter. It only needs your agreement. Every time you say, I can't, you open the door wider. Every time you say, I'm not ready, you hand it the keys. It feeds on your insecurity until your confidence becomes hollow. But when you challenge it, when you say, I may not know how yet, but I will learn, it starts to lose power. Your destiny doesn't require you to be perfect. It requires you to be persistent. Think of a person learning to walk again after an accident. They fall, they stumble, but they keep standing. They believe that walking again is possible, even when their body screams otherwise. Their progress may be slow, but each step is proof that doubt doesn't have the final say. That's how life works. You move forward one step at a time, not because you're fearless, but because your belief outweighs your fear. Negative voices will always exist. They might come from your surroundings. Friends who don't understand your dream, family members who worry, colleagues who envy, or they might come from your own mind. But you must learn to filter what you hear. Not every opinion deserves access to your purpose. When someone says, you can't do it, what they really mean is, I can't see myself doing it. Don't borrow other people's limitations. Their vision is too small for your destiny. You have to become the guardian of your own thoughts. Protect your mind like a fortress. Refuse entry to anything that weakens your spirit. Every time you hear that inner critic say, you're not enough, replace it with, I'm growing. When it says, what if you fail? Respond with, what if I succeed? Train your mind to speak life, not limitation. Words are powerful. They can either build your confidence or destroy it. Think of a seed buried underground. It's surrounded by darkness, pressure, and silence. It doesn't question its ability to grow. It simply pushes upward because it knows there's light above. That's how you must face your doubt. Don't let the darkness convince you that growth isn't happening. Keep pushing, keep believing. The pressure you feel isn't punishment, it's preparation. Many people never realize that self-doubt isn't always about failure. Sometimes it hides behind comparison. You see someone else succeeding and you start thinking, they're better than me. But you don't see their struggles, their fears, their nights of self-doubt too. Every person fighting for something great has battled that same voice. The only difference is they didn't let it stop them. You don't have to silence doubt forever. You just have to stop obeying it. Let it talk, but don't let it lead. Keep moving forward, even when your mind trembles. Every small victory weakens the power of doubt. Every decision to act builds a layer of confidence. And slowly, the thief that once ruled your mind will lose its grip and your destiny will begin to shine through. The world responds to conviction, not hesitation. Life has never rewarded the uncertain, the hesitant, or the half-hearted. Every great door opens to the knock of conviction. When you walk into a room unsure of yourself, people feel it. When you speak without confidence, your words lose power before they even leave your mouth. But when you move with conviction, when you carry the energy of someone who believes in what they're doing, the world takes notice. Conviction is magnetic. It pulls respect, trust, and opportunity toward you. Hesitation, on the other hand, repels them. Think about it. The world is full of people who have good ideas, but no conviction to stand behind them. They talk about what they want to do, they plan, they prepare. But when it's time to act, they freeze. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect approval, the perfect guarantee, and it never comes. Conviction doesn't wait for conditions to be perfect. It acts, it adapts, and it overcomes. Hesitation kills dreams faster than failure ever could, because hesitation is silent. It feels safe, but it slowly drains your power. Look at the people who lead nations, build companies, change history. They all have one thing in common. They believe in their mission even when no one else does. Conviction is what makes a teacher stay late to help a struggling student. It's what makes an inventor work through the night chasing an idea everyone else calls impossible. Conviction is what separates those who talk about success from those who live it. There's a story of a man who dreamed of opening his own restaurant. He worked in someone else's kitchen for years, always telling his co-workers, "Own day, I'll open my own place." They laughed and said, "Sure you will." One day he decided to stop waiting. He quit his job, rented a small space, and started with only 3 tables. Everyone said he was crazy, but he cooked with passion, served with conviction, and treated every customer like family. Word spread. People didn't come because it was fancy. They came because they could feel his belief in what he was doing. That restaurant grew, not because of marketing or luck, but because conviction has energy. It spreads, it inspires, it multiplies. When you move with hesitation, you give life a mixed signal. It's like saying, "I want success," while standing still. The universe doesn't reward confusion, it rewards clarity. When you hesitate, doors that could have opened start to close. Opportunities pass you by because they can't wait forever for you to make up your mind. But when you move with certainty, even if the path is uncertain, you create momentum, and momentum is powerful. It attracts progress. Conviction creates gravity. It draws people who want to be part of something real, something bold, something alive. Every day you wake up, you're faced with 2 voices. One says, "Maybe later." The other says, "No." One voice is hesitation, the other is conviction. And the one you obey determines your destiny. When you move with conviction, you take control of your future. When you hesitate, you hand control to fear. Fear feeds on hesitation. It grows stronger every time you pause. But conviction weakens fear because it doesn't give it time to breathe. When you act, fear loses power. Think of a lion before it attacks. It doesn't overthink. It doesn't second guess. It locks eyes with its goal and moves with total certainty. That's how you must approach your dreams. Not with doubt, not with what if, but with watch me. People can feel when you truly believe in yourself. They can sense it in your tone, your energy, your body language. Even if they doubt you at first, your conviction forces them to take you seriously. A young woman once wanted to start a clothing brand. She had no investors, no connections, just a vision. She began selling designs out of her car, walking into stores, showing them her work with confidence. Many said no, but she kept showing up. Her conviction spoke louder than her circumstances. One day, a store owner took a chance on her, and her designs sold out in a week. That moment didn't happen by luck. It happened because conviction refuses to be ignored. Hesitation would have kept her in the car, wondering if she was good enough. Conviction put her in motion, and motion created opportunity. The truth is, hesitation is comfortable. It feels safe because it avoids rejection. But conviction requires courage. It demands that you risk being wrong, risk being judged, risk failing. But it's the only way to rise. People don't follow the hesitant, they follow the bold. Even if you stumble, people respect courage more than perfection. When you hesitate, you tell the world you don't trust yourself. When you move with conviction, you declare that you are ready for responsibility, ready for greatness. Every dream has a window of opportunity, and hesitation makes that window smaller. While you're overthinking, someone else is taking action. While you're questioning your worth, someone else is proving theirs. And that's why the world rewards conviction. It responds to movement, not intention. You can have the best plan in the world, but if you don't move, it dies in your head. Action backed by conviction will always outperform talent backed by doubt. Look at the mirror and ask yourself, what am I hesitating on? Is it the business idea, the relationship, the goal, the call you know you should make? Ask yourself, what if I stop waiting for the right moment and start trusting my conviction? because deep down, you already know what you need to do. Hesitation disguises itself as logic, but it's just fear in a suit. Conviction is faith dressed as courage. It moves before everything makes sense. The world opens to those who decide. The moment you say, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, and I'm not turning back, you'll notice things shift. Resources appear, people support you, opportunities align. But none of that happens until you take the first step. You don't need permission to move forward. You just need conviction strong enough to silence your hesitation. And once you find that inner certainty, once you speak and act like someone who knows where they're going, the world will have no choice but to respond. Vision without belief will always remain an illusion. It's easy to imagine success, to talk about dreams, to visualize the life you want. But if you don't believe you can reach it, it will forever stay a picture in your mind. Vision is the map, but belief is the fuel. One without the other is useless. So many people have a clear idea of what they want in life. They can see the house, the business, the peace, the happiness. But deep inside, they whisper to themselves, maybe it's not for me. And the moment they say that, the dream begins to fade. Belief gives your vision life. Without it, your vision is only fantasy. You can stand in front of the mirror every day and say, I want to be successful. But if you don't believe it's possible for you, your mind will sabotage you. Your actions will shrink to match your disbelief. It's like trying to drive a car with no fuel. It doesn't matter how expensive the car is, it won't move. Vision needs belief the same way a seed needs water. You can plant it, you can even protect it from the sun. But if you don't water it, it will dry up and die. Think about the people who change the world. They don't just have vision, they have belief so strong it almost looks like madness. When Wright brothers said they would build a machine that flies, people laughed. Everyone said it was impossible. But their belief kept their vision alive. When others saw risk, they saw destiny. And because they believed, they kept testing, failing, learning, and trying again until their vision became reality. The dream didn't come true because they had the idea. It came true because they believed in it even when no one else did. Many people confuse vision with daydreaming. Daydreaming feels good. It lets you escape reality for a moment. But vision backed by belief changes reality. Belief gives you the courage to act. It keeps you moving when nothing is working. It tells you, keep going, because one day this will make sense. Without belief, even the clearest vision feels distant. You begin to see your goal as something for others, not for you. You convince yourself you're not qualified, not ready, not lucky enough. And your vision becomes an illusion you visit only in your thoughts. Imagine a man who dreams of being a musician. He writes songs, sings passionately in his room, but never believes anyone would want to hear him. So he hides his gift. Years go by, and someone else comes along with less talent but more belief. And they succeed. People celebrate their music while he wonders what could have been. That's the danger of vision without belief. It keeps your potential trapped inside your imagination. Your dreams can't breathe if your doubt suffocates them. Belief doesn't make things easy, it makes them possible. It gives you energy when the path is long. It keeps your focus sharp when distractions try to pull you away. Belief is the silent power that whispers, you were made for this. Even in pain, even in rejection, belief keeps you grounded in your vision. When you believe, you start to attract what aligns with your purpose. You meet people who help you. You see chances that others overlook. And you find strength in moments where most would quit. Take a look at a small child learning to walk. The child falls over and over again, but never stops trying. Why? Because they believe walking is possible. They've seen others do it, and they know they can too. That's belief in its purest form, innocent, fearless, unstoppable. As we grow older, life tries to take that belief from us. We fail once or twice, and suddenly we convince ourselves we're not capable. But deep down, that same child still lives inside us, waiting for us to believe again. Vision is not enough to carry you through the storms of life. When difficulties come, vision tells you where you're going, but belief tells you why you must keep going. There will be days when everything looks opposite of your dream. The money won't come, the people will leave, the doors will close, but belief will whisper, don't stop, it's still possible. That whisper is the most powerful sound in the world because it pushes you to keep moving when logic says give up. There was a woman who dreamed of becoming a doctor, but she failed her entrance exams twice. Her family told her to stop trying, to find something else, but she kept believing. She studied harder, sacrificed more, and eventually passed. Today, she saves lives every day. Her vision didn't change after failure. Her belief made the difference. Without it, she would have accepted defeat and lived a life of regret. Belief turns failure into a lesson, not a full stop. Every vision starts in the unseen world of thought, but only belief can pull it into the visible world of reality. When you believe, you begin to behave as if it's already possible. Your energy shifts, your choices align, and your effort multiplies. People feel it, and the universe responds to it. Belief makes you magnetic. It pulls possibilities toward you. Most people spend their lives collecting visions but never building them. They say, one day I'll start, or maybe when the time is right. But time doesn't respond to hesitation, it responds to faith. The moment you believe enough to start, you set your vision in motion. Belief is not just mental, it's spiritual energy. It tells the world, I am ready. You can have a clear plan, a powerful dream, and a perfect strategy, but without belief, it's like staring at a locked door with the key in your pocket and refusing to use it. Belief is the key. When you turn it, the door opens. When you refuse, you keep living in illusion, imagining life outside while standing still inside. Belief doesn't wait for perfect conditions, it creates them. When you believe, your vision becomes more than a picture. It becomes a path you're willing to walk no matter how long it takes. Belief transforms a vague dream into a living pursuit. It gives your vision hands and feet. It makes you show up when no one is watching, work when others rest, and stand when others fall. Without belief, your vision is only a painting hanging in your mind, beautiful but motionless. With belief, it becomes a story you live, a reality you build, and a legacy you leave behind. Your belief activates divine creativity and personal power. Belief is the key that unlocks the invisible world of possibility. When you truly believe in something, your mind starts working differently. Ideas begin to appear where there used to be confusion. Strength begins to rise where there used to be fear. Belief opens a channel between what is and what can be. It wakes up the creative force that sleeps inside every human being, waiting for permission to move. People think creativity belongs only to artists or geniuses, but creativity is the natural result of belief. When you believe something can be done, your mind starts inventing ways to do it. Belief is the spark, creativity is the flame, and power is the fire that follows. Think about a person who wants to start a business but has no experience, no money, and no support. Most people in that position give up before they start because they believe it's impossible. But a person with belief begins to see opportunities others can't. They might start with something small, something humble, and their belief begins to create momentum. One idea leads to another, one small success opens another door, and soon they're doing what once seemed impossible. It's not that they became more talented overnight. It's that belief unlocked the creativity and power that was always inside them. Belief has a strange way of bending reality. When you believe, your mind begins to collaborate with possibility. Your brain becomes a magnet for solutions. You start noticing things you used to ignore. You start connecting dots that others don't even see. Belief awakens your inner inventor, your problem solver, your visionary. When people say, "Oh, did you think of that?" The truth is, it was always there. You just couldn't see it until belief opened your eyes. In your daily life, think about how often you stop yourself not because you can't, but because you think you can't. You say, "I don't have the time. I don't have the talent. I don't have the connections." Those aren't limits, they're lies built from disbelief. The moment you replace them with, "I will find a way," your mind starts searching for one. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. Everything that was hidden becomes visible. Belief gives direction to your mind, and the mind begins to serve your purpose. There was a young woman who dreamed of designing clothes. She didn't have formal training or money for fashion school, but she believed she could learn. She watched tutorials online, practiced daily, and started making simple designs in her bedroom. Her friends loved them, so she began selling them on social media. Eventually, her designs caught attention, and one day a local boutique offered to collaborate with her. People called it luck, but it wasn't luck. It was belief in motion. Her belief activated her creativity attracted opportunity, and her opportunity revealed her power. Belief and power are twins. One cannot exist without the other. When you believe, power begins to flow through your actions. Your body language changes, your tone changes, your energy changes. You start walking differently, speaking differently, thinking differently. You stop seeking permission and start creating results. Belief makes you unshakable because it anchors you in purpose. When you have belief, you no longer depend on motivation. You become the source of your own fire. Divine creativity doesn't just come from talent, it comes from faith in your potential. Belief is the invitation that calls creativity to the surface. It's like a muscle that grows every time you use it. When you believe you can handle challenges, you start finding new ways to overcome them. When you believe there's a solution, your mind starts inventing one. And when you believe you are capable, you awaken the divine power that was always inside you. Belief turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers because it transforms fear into fuel. One of the most powerful examples of this is in the world of inventions. Before every great discovery, there was belief. Thomas Edison believed there was a way to create light from electricity, and he kept believing even after thousands of failed experiments. The airplane existed in the mind of the Wright brothers long before it existed in the sky. They didn't borrow someone else's confidence. They believed in their own vision enough to create what the world had never seen. That's what belief does. It awakens the part of you that dares to create what doesn't yet exist. You don't need to be extraordinary to activate your power. You just need to believe you can be. When you stop doubting yourself, you give permission to your potential to rise. Belief doesn't just create new ideas. It transforms the person holding them. You begin to think on a higher level. You begin to attract people who share your energy, and you begin to align with the flow of life itself. Belief is not just mental, it's spiritual. It connects you to something greater, something beyond reason, and that connection gives you wisdom you didn't even know you had. There's a man who once said he was terrible at public speaking. Every time he tried, his voice shook and his hands trembled. One day, he decided to stop focusing on his fear and start believing that his message mattered more than his fear. That simple shift changed everything. When he began speaking from belief instead of insecurity, the words flowed naturally. The creativity that had been locked inside him came alive. People began listening, connecting, and being moved. He didn't take a new course or change his voice. He simply changed his belief. Belief gives birth to boldness. Boldness creates movement, and movement gives birth to power. When you believe you have something valuable to offer, you start behaving like it. Your actions become stronger, your decisions become clearer, and your mind becomes more creative. Even when obstacles come, you no longer see them as barriers. You see them as building blocks. Belief changes how you interpret struggle. Instead of saying, "This is too hard," you say, "This is making me stronger." Your belief determines how far your creativity can reach. People with weak belief create small ideas because they think small. People with strong belief create revolutions because they think without limits. Belief expands the walls of your imagination. It gives you permission to dream bigger, to attempt greater, to push beyond comfort. It teaches you that creativity isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting that you can find them. When you believe in yourself, the divine part of you wakes up. That part that whispers ideas in silence, that part that tells you you were meant for more. Belief is what allows that voice to be heard clearly. It pushes away fear, clears confusion, and strengthens focus. It turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Belief isn't arrogance. It's alignment with the truth that power and creativity were always inside you, waiting for you to believe enough to release them. Failure is not the end. It's feedback for those who still believe. Every time you fall, life is speaking to you. It's not whispering defeat. It's revealing direction. When you fail, it's not proof that you're not good enough. It's proof that you're trying. People who never fail are the ones who never try anything worth doing. Failure is not a closed door. It's a signpost that says, "This way didn't work, try another." It's life's way of refining your path, reshaping your strength, and reminding you that belief is more powerful than any mistake you'll ever make. Think of a child learning to walk. They stumble, they fall, they cry. And then they get up again. No one calls that child a failure. Everyone knows that falling is part of walking. Yet when we grow up, we forget that. We fall once or twice and call it the end. But those who truly believe know that every fall is a lesson in balance, every bruise a message of growth. You only fail when you stop trying. Every time you rise after falling, you're rewriting the story of who you are. Failure is not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. The world may mock you when you lose, But failure quietly teaches what victory cannot. It humbles you, sharpens you, and shows you who you really are. When you fail, you face yourself, your fears, your excuses, your limits, and you learn what needs to change. That's feedback, not punishment. Success doesn't come to those who never fail. It comes to those who interpret failure as information, not as identity. There was once a man who applied for over 100 jobs and got rejected by every single one. People laughed at him, told him to give up, told him to settle. But he kept believing that there was something out there for him. He used every rejection as feedback. He learned how to write a better resume, how to present himself, how to speak with confidence. Years later, he built his own business and ended up hiring people who once ignored him. What changed wasn't luck, it was belief. Belief that failure wasn't the end, it was a signal to grow. Every successful person you admire has walked through the valley of failure. They've faced embarrassment, disappointment, rejection, and loss. But they refused to let failure define them. They took the feedback, adjusted their strategy, and kept going. Thomas Edison once said he didn't fail 1,000 times. He discovered 1,000 ways that didn't work. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. These people didn't see failure as the finish line. They saw it as training for greatness. The difference between those who rise and those who stay down isn't talent. It's how they see failure. The weak see it as a verdict. The strong see it as guidance. When you fail, you can either drown in self-pity or dive into self-improvement. One leads to regret, the other leads to rebirth. Failure exposes what you need to fix, and belief gives you the courage to fix it. Every setback is a mirror reflecting what must evolve inside you. In daily life, think about your own moments of failure. Maybe you studied hard for an exam and still didn't pass. Maybe you gave your best in a relationship that fell apart. Maybe you started a business that never took off. In those moments, it feels like life is against you. But if you step back and look deeper, you'll see that each failure leaves behind valuable feedback. Maybe it taught you patience. Maybe it revealed your weaknesses. Maybe it redirected you to something better. Belief helps you extract wisdom from pain. Without belief, you only see loss. Failure is not about falling short, it's about finding direction. Sometimes life closes a door because you were meant to build your own. Failure doesn't destroy believers, it strengthens them. When you still believe after failing, you tap into a deeper power. You tell the universe, you can knock me down, but you can't keep me there. That's when everything begins to change. Belief in the face of failure is the birthplace of resilience, and resilience is the mother of success. Think of a seed planted deep in the soil. In darkness, it seems buried. To the outside world, it looks dead. But underneath, it's transforming. Failure feels like that darkness. It buries you for a while, but if you believe, you begin to grow roots. You gather strength. You prepare for the day you'll break through the surface. People will call your rise sudden, but you'll know it was built on years of hidden growth. Failure doesn't bury believers, it plants them. When you believe, failure becomes fuel. You start to see it differently. Instead of asking, why me? You start asking, what can I learn from this? That question alone changes everything. The moment you treat failure as feedback, you turn pain into progress. Belief allows you to keep moving when others quit. It tells you that even in defeat, you're still developing. Every misstep, every mistake, every disappointment is shaping the version of you that's strong enough to handle what's coming next. The truth is, success is built on a foundation of failures. You don't build strength by avoiding pain. You build it by walking through it. You don't gain wisdom by avoiding mistakes. You gain it by learning from them. Belief gives you the courage to face failure without losing your identity. You stop saying, I failed, and start saying, I learned. That shift in mindset is what separates the dreamers from the doers. There's a story of a man who failed in business twice, lost elections 8 times, and suffered depression so deep that he almost gave up. Yet he kept believing he had a purpose. That man was Abraham Lincoln. His failures didn't destroy him, they developed him. Every time life said no, he took it as feedback to grow stronger, wiser, more disciplined. His belief transformed failure into fuel that built one of the greatest leaders in history. In your own life, every failure is a message waiting to be understood. When you look at failure through the eyes of belief, you stop running from it. You face it, study it, learn from it, and rise because of it. The world may call it loss, but you know it's feedback. Proof that you're still in the game, still growing, still fighting for what you believe in. Because the only true failure is to stop believing altogether. Never wait for people to validate your purpose. Your belief is enough. Too many people waste years of their lives waiting for someone else to confirm what they already know inside. They wait for approval before they start, applause before they move, and validation before they believe. They hesitate because no one claps for them. No one says, "You can do it." No one recognizes the fire burning in their soul. But the truth is, no one has to see it for it to be real. Your belief is the only permission you need to begin. When you understand this, you free yourself from the prison of opinions. Because people's approval is fragile. It changes with their mood, their jealousy, their comfort. One day they'll cheer for you, the next they'll doubt you. If your confidence depends on their validation, you'll live like a puppet, dancing to the rhythm of other people's acceptance. Belief frees you from that. When you believe in your purpose, even when no one else does, you become unstoppable. Think about every great person who ever changed something in this world. They weren't validated at first. No one believed in their ideas. No one saw their vision. The world laughs at pioneers before it praises them. When the Wright brothers talked about flying, people called them insane. When people heard about electricity, they said it was dangerous and impossible. When someone dreamed of talking across oceans, they called it fantasy. Yet those who believed, who trusted their own conviction more than public opinion, are the ones whose names we still remember today. You must learn to trust your inner voice, that quiet whisper inside you that says, "There's more." That whisper is purpose. That whisper doesn't scream, it guides. It won't always make sense to others, but it will make sense to you, and that's enough. Too many dreams die because people hand them over to others for validation. They say, "What do you think about my idea?" And when the other person laughs, they bury it. But that person isn't supposed to understand. It wasn't given to them, it was given to you. Imagine a young woman who dreams of becoming a designer. She sketches late at night, pours her heart into every design, but every time she shows someone, they dismiss it. "There's no future in that," they say. "You should get a real job." For a moment she doubts herself, thinking maybe they're right. But then she remembers how alive she feels when she creates. So she keeps going quietly, consistently, believing in her gift. Years later, the same people who once mocked her now wear her creations. Her success didn't come from their validation. It came from her belief. The world often misunderstands purpose because it sees only what is visible. Purpose, however, begins in the invisible. When you start building something new, no one can see it yet. It's still taking shape in your mind. People will question you because they can't see what you see. They'll tell you to stop dreaming, to be realistic, to lower your expectations. But belief is about seeing what others can't. It's about holding on to your vision long enough for the world to catch up. Many people never start because they're afraid of being laughed at. They care too much about opinions that won't matter in 10 years. Think about it. How many times did you hold back from doing something great because you feared what someone might say? That fear is a thief. It steals destiny from those who let it. If you only move when others agree, you'll never move at all. The people who change the world are often the ones who move in silence, fueled by conviction, not applause. Belief is lonely at first. When you walk your purpose, you'll often walk alone. People will misunderstand you, criticize you, call you crazy. But that's a sign you're on the right path. Because if your dream doesn't scare small minds, it's not big enough. Belief doesn't wait for a crowd, it walks in faith. And over time, those who once doubted will begin to see what you saw all along. There's a man who worked as a street vendor, selling books from a small cart. People laughed at him for dreaming of building his own publishing company. He couldn't afford an office, didn't have a degree, and everyone around him said, "You're wasting your time." But he kept believing. He studied the market, read every book he sold, learned every trick of the trade. Years later, he opened his first store. Today, his company prints books that inspire millions. Those who once ignored him now quote his words. He didn't wait for validation. He built his belief into reality. Validation feels good, but it's temporary. Belief feels risky, but it's eternal. When you seek validation, you give power to others. When you believe in yourself, you take that power back. You stop asking for permission to exist. You stop needing someone to see your worth before you act. Your value doesn't come from what people say. It comes from what you believe. Think of a seed again. No one celebrates it when it's underground. It's ignored, unseen, and forgotten. But beneath the soil, it's growing. That's what belief looks like in the early stages. Quiet progress that no one notices. If the seed were to stop growing just because no one sees it, it would never become a tree. So why stop just because no one sees your growth yet? Greatness grows in silence long before it blooms in public. You have to be your own biggest believer. You have to look in the mirror and say, I am capable, I am chosen, I am enough. Because if you don't believe that, no amount of applause will make up for it. External validation is like a drug. It gives a temporary high but fades quickly. Inner belief, on the other hand, is fuel. It keeps burning even when the world turns its back on you. People will always have opinions. Some will cheer, some will mock, some will remain silent. But your purpose doesn't depend on their reaction. If you're waiting for everyone to understand, you'll wait forever. Not everyone is supposed to see your vision. Not everyone has the eyes to recognize destiny before it manifests. Your job isn't to convince them. It's to keep building. And remember, those who doubt you now are often the same ones who will call you inspiring later. They'll tell stories about how they knew you, how they always believed in you, even when they didn't. But you'll know the truth. You believed when no one else did. You carried the vision through the dark until the light appeared. And that belief was enough to make the impossible possible. Small belief creates small results. Big belief opens big doors. Everything you achieve in life is a direct reflection of what you believe you deserve. If your belief is small, your vision will be small, your actions will be small, and your results will follow that same limitation. But when your belief expands, your world expands with it. Life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you believe you can have. Your mindset sets the size of your opportunities. If you see yourself as average, life will treat you like you're average. But the moment you start seeing yourself as capable, powerful, and worthy of more, life begins to respond in ways that surprise you. Most people fail not because they lack talent or intelligence, but because they never believe they can go beyond what's comfortable. They settle for less because they think less of themselves. They think big dreams belong to special people, not realizing that every special person started as an ordinary one with extraordinary belief. The difference between those who rise and those who remain is simply the size of their belief. Imagine two people standing in front of the same door of opportunity. One knocks timidly, thinking, I hope it opens. The other knocks boldly, thinking, this door was made for me. The timid one hesitates and the door stays closed. The bold one believes and pushes and the door opens. It's not the door that's different. It's the belief behind the knock. There's a story of a young man who started working at a car wash. He used to wash cars all day, earning just enough to get by. One day, while cleaning a luxury car, he said to himself, why should I only wash cars when I could one day own this kind of car? People laughed when he said that. His co-workers mocked him, saying, you can't even afford a bicycle and you're dreaming about luxury cars. But that belief lit something inside him. He started learning about car sales, saving money, studying customer service. Within a few years, he opened his own small used car lot. Then he grew it into multiple showrooms. Eventually, he became the owner of the kind of cars he once cleaned for others. What changed wasn't his background. It was the size of his belief. You will never rise above the level of your own self-image. If you believe you can only go so far, that belief becomes a ceiling over your life. Big belief removes that ceiling. It opens your eyes to possibilities that others can't see. It tells you that no matter where you start, you can rewrite your story. Belief expands your potential because it shifts your energy from fear to faith. Small belief says, I'll try. Big belief says, I will. Small belief waits for perfect conditions. Big belief creates conditions. Think of a farmer planting seeds. If he only plants a few seeds, he'll only get a small harvest, not because the soil is bad, but because his expectation was small. Belief works the same way. If you only plant small dreams, you'll only get small results. If you dare to believe bigger, to plant more courage, more persistence, more faith, you'll see a harvest that shocks everyone around you. Many people shrink their belief because they fear disappointment. They think, if I dream small, I won't get hurt. But small dreams hurt too, because deep down, you know you settled. It's not failure that kills you. It's the regret of never believing in your full capacity. You don't need to know how it will happen. You just need to believe that it can. Belief activates creativity. It turns your brain into a problem-solving machine. When you believe in something big, your mind starts finding ways to make it real. Take, for example, a woman working in a small cafe. She dreamed of opening her own bakery one day, but she didn't have money, connections, or experience. Her friends told her it was impossible, that she should be grateful for what she had. But she believed in her dream so much that she started baking at home, selling small cakes to her neighbors. She saved every little profit and kept improving. One day, a customer loved her cake so much that they helped her get a small shop. Today, she owns multiple bakeries. The only thing that separated her from thousands of others who worked in cafes was her belief that she could create something bigger. Big belief doesn't mean arrogance. It means confidence in your potential. It means understanding that you were created with unlimited possibility. Small belief says, who am I to dream that big? Big belief says, why not me? Small belief compares itself to others. Big belief competes only with yesterday's version of itself. Look around your life. Every limit you see was first created in your mind. If you believe you can't start a business, your brain will find excuses. If you believe you can, your brain will start finding solutions. Belief determines focus. Whatever you believe is possible, your energy begins to align with it. If you believe you're meant for more, life will test that belief, but it will also reward it. You've probably met people who stay stuck in the same job for years, not because they lack skills, but because they don't believe they can do more. They say, this is just who I am. That's small belief talking. Then there are those who start small but dream big. They see every challenge as a stepping stone, every no as redirection, every failure as feedback. They grow not because they have fewer obstacles, but because their belief is too big to be stopped by them. Belief is a magnet. It attracts experiences that match its frequency. When you believe small, you attract small opportunities. When you believe big, doors open that you didn't even know existed. Big belief draws people, resources, and moments toward you because the universe responds to conviction. Think about a person standing before a mountain. Small belief looks at the mountain and says, it's too high. Big belief looks at the same mountain and says, step by step, I'll reach the top. Same mountain, different mindset. The person who believes bigger doesn't have fewer struggles. They just see the struggle as part of the process, not proof of impossibility. If you ever want to know how big your belief is, look at your goals. Small goals mean you're playing it safe. Big goals mean you trust yourself. Belief gives you permission to dream beyond your current situation. Maybe you're surrounded by people who don't believe, who tell you to stay small, to be realistic. But remember, realistic people rarely change the world. It's the dreamers, the believers, the ones with outrageous faith in themselves who do. Small belief builds comfort zones. Big belief breaks them. Small belief keeps you where you are. Big belief pulls you toward where you're meant to be. Small belief asks for less. Big belief demands more from life, from destiny, from yourself. The size of your belief sets the size of your future. If you want bigger results, start by expanding what you believe is possible. Because the moment your belief grows, everything around you starts to grow too. When you believe, your actions become unstoppable. Belief is the engine that turns ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement. It's the invisible fire that fuels persistence when everything around you screams, give up. When you truly believe in something, you don't wait for perfect conditions. You move, you act, you build, and you fight because your heart refuses to sit still. People without belief hesitate. They overthink, they delay, they second guess. But the moment you believe, hesitation dies, doubt disappears. Your mind and body align with one mission, to make it happen. Belief transforms the impossible into steps you're willing to take. It's not that the path becomes easier, it's that you become stronger. Belief gives your actions direction, energy, and purpose. Without belief, effort feels heavy, every setback feels final, and every failure feels fatal. But when you believe, you see failure as feedback and pain as progress. Every time life hits you, belief whispers, keep moving. It makes your actions powerful because they're no longer dependent on circumstances. They're powered by conviction. Think about a runner in a marathon. When they start, the energy is high, the crowd is cheering, the music is playing. But somewhere along the journey, the noise fades. The body starts to ache. The lungs burn. The legs feel heavy. That's the moment when most people stop. Not because they're weak, but because they lose belief. Yet the few who keep going, who push through the pain, are those who still believe they can finish. Belief carries them when strength runs out. It becomes their second wind, their silent partner pushing them forward when everything else says stop. There's a man who dreamed of building a company that could change lives. He had no investors, no support, no fancy office, just belief. Every time he pitched his idea, people said no. Some laughed. Some ignored him. But he kept moving. He worked nights, sold what he could, reinvested every penny, and stayed consistent when no one was watching. Today, that same company employs hundreds of people and serves thousands of customers. What made the difference wasn't talent or money. It was the belief that his vision mattered. Belief made his actions unstoppable. Belief has a strange power. It multiplies your energy. When you believe, your body obeys your mind. You can work longer, think clearer, and recover faster because belief changes how you interpret effort. Instead of saying, this is too hard, you start saying, this is part of the process. Your mind becomes a weapon. Your actions become sharp, focused, and determined. Even when you fail, belief gives you the courage to rise again. Every great transformation in history began with one person who believed enough to act when others only talked. Action is the proof of belief. Many people say they want change, but their actions betray their doubt. They wait for motivation, they wait for permission, they wait for the right time. But belief doesn't wait. Belief moves first. It says, I may not have everything I need yet, but I'll start with what I have. When you believe, you stop waiting for the world to hand you a chance. You create one. Think about a student who dreams of becoming a doctor but keeps failing exams. Most people would quit after the second or third failure. But this student believes. Every time they fail, they study harder. Every time they fall short, they learn from it. Everyone around them gives up, but their belief drives them to keep going. Years later, they graduate. They wear that white coat, not because they were the smartest, but because they refused to stop moving. Belief turns setbacks into stepping stones. Belief removes the weight of fear. Fear paralyzes people. It makes them question, overanalyze, and procrastinate. But belief dissolves fear because it gives you something stronger to focus on. You stop asking, what if I fail? And start saying, what if I win? Belief doesn't eliminate uncertainty. It just gives you enough courage to move despite it. That's why believers always seem unstoppable. They're not fearless. They're just too focused on their goal to let fear slow them down. In everyday life, you see this everywhere. A mother raising children alone, working multiple jobs, barely sleeping, but still showing up every morning. What keeps her going? Belief. Belief that her sacrifice will give her kids a better life. Belief that her effort matters. Her actions are unstoppable because her purpose is stronger than her pain. Belief gives ordinary people extraordinary endurance. When you believe in something deeply, your energy becomes contagious. People start to feel it. They may not even understand your dream, but they sense your conviction. Belief inspires others to act too. It spreads, it ignites, it builds momentum. Your belief doesn't just change your life. It changes everyone connected to you. That's why leaders are powerful, not because they have authority, but because they have belief strong enough to move others into action. You might not realize it, but belief changes the way you talk, walk, and carry yourself. It shows in your tone, your posture, your eyes. People can feel when you truly believe in what you're doing. The world doesn't follow titles. It follows energy, and nothing radiates stronger energy than belief. When you walk with conviction, doors open that fear kept closed. When you act with belief, you attract opportunities that hesitation would have missed. There was a young man who wanted to be a speaker, but he stuttered terribly. Everyone told him it was impossible. They said, how can you inspire others when you can't even speak clearly? But he believed he could. He practiced every day, talking to mirrors, recording himself, forcing his tongue and voice to align. It took years, but he never stopped. Today, he speaks to thousands of people, and the same people who doubted him now pay to hear his words. That's what belief does. It turns limitation into legend. Belief gives you consistency, and consistency gives you results. When you believe, you don't stop when it's hard. You stop when it's done. You show up even when you don't feel like it. You stay disciplined even when no one is watching. You understand that belief without action is fantasy, and action without belief is empty. But when you combine belief with action, you become unstoppable. Most people fail not because they don't have potential, but because they stop acting when progress slows down. They think belief means instant success, but true belief means you keep moving even when success is invisible. Belief tells you it's working even when it looks like it's not. And that faith gives you the power to keep swinging until the wall breaks. In life, the people who achieve greatness are not always the most gifted. They're the most persistent. They're the ones who act when others hesitate, who move when others freeze. Their secret is not luck, it's belief. Because belief transforms motion into momentum. Every step forward, no matter how small, compounds over time. And soon the world calls it success, but it all started with belief that refused to stop moving. Belief transforms impossibility into reality. It's the foundation of all success. Everything that exists today was once called impossible by someone who couldn't see beyond their fear. The airplane, the internet, electricity, space travel, all of them were born from a mind that refused to accept limits. Belief is not about seeing what's in front of you. It's about seeing what could be, even when the world laughs at you for trying. Belief gives you eyes in the dark, strength when you're weak, and courage when everything inside you wants to quit. When you believe, the word impossible loses its meaning. Belief bends reality because it changes how you think, and how you think changes what you do. People who believe don't wait for permission. They act, they fail, they try again, they adjust, and they keep moving until their dream becomes something others can finally see. Belief is not about being naive. It's about being relentless. It's saying, I don't know how, but I will. Think about the story of a young man who grew up in poverty, with no opportunities, no support, and no safety net. Every statistic said he would fail. But he believed he could rise above his circumstances. He started reading, learning, working odd jobs, saving little by little. People mocked him. They told him, "You're dreaming too big." But he kept going. Years later, he became the owner of multiple businesses and built a life that once seemed impossible. What changed wasn't his situation. It was his belief. He saw a door where others saw a wall. Belief makes ordinary people do extraordinary things. When you believe in something deeply enough, your brain starts finding ways to make it happen. It's like a signal you send to your entire being that says, this is possible no matter what it takes. And once you send that signal, your energy changes, your conversations change, your habits change. Belief rewires your identity. You stop saying, a wish, and start saying, I will. Think of a seed buried in the dirt. To everyone else, it looks like it's dead, trapped in darkness. But that seed believes in its potential. It pushes through the soil, fights against the weight of the earth, and stretches toward the light. It doesn't complain about the darkness. It uses it. That's what belief does. It turns pressure into purpose, pain into progress, and obstacles into openings. Belief is what made a man named Wright look at the sky and think, humans can fly. It made Edison fail 1,000 times and still say, haven't failed, I've just found ways that don't work. It made a single mother work 3 jobs, go to night school, and create a future her kids could be proud of. It made an athlete wake up at 4 a.m. every day, practicing in silence when no one believed in him. Belief is the bridge between the dreamer and the doer. There's a man who once said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right, because your belief shapes your reality. If you believe you can't, you'll find reasons to stop. If you believe you can, you'll find ways to start. The mind follows whatever story you tell it. Tell it that you're too old, too young, too late, too poor, and it will accept it. But tell it that you're capable, deserving, and unstoppable, and it will rise to match that story. Belief turns failure into fuel. When you believe, rejection doesn't break you, it builds you. Every time someone says no, belief says next. Every setback becomes a stepping stone. Belief gives you the patience to play the long game. It reminds you that great things take time and that temporary pain is the price of permanent growth. A young girl once dreamed of becoming a musician, but she lived in a small town where no one had ever made it big. She didn't have fancy instruments, just a second-hand guitar with missing strings. Every night she practiced until her fingers bled. People told her to get a real job, to stop wasting her time. But she believed in her sound. Years later, that same girl was performing on world stages, inspiring millions. Her story wasn't written by talent alone. It was belief that kept her going when talent wasn't enough. Belief is contagious. When you truly believe in something, others feel it. It radiates through your tone, your energy, and your actions. Belief makes people trust you, follow you, and support you. The world doesn't rally around the smartest person. It rallies around the one who believes so deeply that doubt can't survive around them. Belief inspires belief. One person's courage to act can spark a revolution in others who were too afraid to try. You see, belief doesn't mean the path will be easy. It means you'll walk it anyway. Belief is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move despite fear. People who wait for the perfect time, the perfect skill, or the perfect confidence never start. Believers start before they're ready. They build as they go. They stumble, they learn, and they grow stronger through every setback. Belief gives them the audacity to begin and the strength to continue. Every great achievement begins with one person who dared to believe something different. Belief is what makes a writer write when nobody's reading, what makes an inventor build when nobody's buying, what makes a dreamer keep dreaming when everyone else says it's over. Belief isn't a feeling, it's a decision. It's the quiet commitment you make when no one's clapping, no one's watching, and no one's helping. Think about everyday people who live with belief. A father working long shifts just to keep his kids in school. A student studying by candlelight because electricity is a luxury. A young entrepreneur getting rejected over and over, yet waking up every morning ready to try again. Belief gives these people something that money can't buy: resilience. It's the force that refuses to die. The truth is, life will always test your belief. You'll be thrown into storms that try to drown your dreams. You'll face seasons of silence where nothing seems to work. People will doubt you, laugh at you, walk away from you. But belief keeps you anchored when the waves get high. It reminds you why you started in the first place. It whispers, you were made for this. Impossibility is just a word created by people who stop believing. Every invention, every discovery, every miracle in history was once labeled impossible until someone proved otherwise. The moment you believe, you shift from wishing to creating, from waiting to working, from dreaming to doing. Belief is the foundation of all success because it's the only thing that turns vision into victory and impossibility into reality. Belief is the silent fire that never dies, the invisible strength that turns weakness into power. When everything seems against you, belief is the one voice that whispers, stand up one more time. There's something unexplainable about the person who believes. They walk differently, they speak with conviction. They carry a light that the world can't dim. Belief is not arrogance, it's awareness. Awareness that within you lies something greater than fear, greater than failure, greater than doubt. When you believe, you stop chasing validation because belief itself becomes your evidence. You stop waiting for opportunities because belief makes you create them. You stop fearing loss because belief teaches you that even when you lose everything, you're still not empty, you're full of purpose. The truth is, belief doesn't make life easy, it makes it meaningful. It doesn't promise you comfort, it gives you courage. It doesn't guarantee success, it guarantees progress. The greatest gift you can give yourself is the power to believe when everything around you tells you not to. Because belief doesn't just change what you achieve, it changes who you become. Belief transforms your inner world first, and then the outer world follows. The person who believes becomes magnetic, they attract what they focus on. Belief shifts energy, it changes conversations, it commands respect without asking for it. There will be days when you'll be alone in your struggle. The room will be quiet, the phone won't ring, and your dream will look like a foolish fantasy. But that's when belief steps forward. That's when belief says, don't quit now, you're closer than you think. Every champion you admire once stood where you stand, broke, tired, misunderstood but believing. Belief is what made them get up after every defeat. Belief is what made them walk when their legs were shaking. Belief is what made them see the finish line before it existed. Believe when they call you crazy. Believe when they say you failed. Believe when they mock your effort, because the same people who doubt you today will one day ask how you did it. Belief is the only voice you need in the crowd of doubt. Belief is what separates the dreamers from the doors. You see, the difference between success and regret is simple. One believed long enough, the other gave up too soon. There's something powerful about a person who decides to believe without proof. The moment you say to yourself, I will rise, I will win, I will not quit, the universe begins to align. Doors start opening, opportunities start appearing, and even obstacles become staircases. Because belief doesn't just change what you see, it changes how you see. Where others see a dead end, the believer sees a detour. Where others see pain, the believer sees preparation. Where others see rejection, the believer sees redirection. Belief gives you the eyes of faith in a world ruled by fear. Imagine the feeling of walking into your future, knowing you created it with your own belief. Imagine looking back one day and realizing every setback was a setup. Every delay was divine. Every disappointment was necessary. That's what belief does. It connects the dots you can't yet see. It's the quiet confidence that says, everything will make sense soon. Keep moving. Life will always test your belief before it rewards it. The test will come disguised as failure, as loneliness, as confusion. It will make you question yourself, your choices, your strength. But that's the price of becoming unshakable. Because only those who've been broken can understand the value of being whole. Only those who've believed through tears can teach others how to stand in storms. Believe so strongly that your faith becomes contagious. Let your belief speak louder than your words. Let your actions become a sermon, your persistence a message, your success a testimony. When you walk in belief, people feel it. They may not understand it, but they respect it. Belief makes people lean in because deep down, everyone wants to believe that something better is possible. Your belief gives others permission to dream again. Your light reminds others that darkness doesn't last forever. Remember, the world is not moved by the one who complains, but by the one who believes. Every revolution, every invention, every masterpiece began with belief. Someone looked at the impossible and said, "Watch me." Someone stood in failure and said, "I'm not done yet." Someone lost everything and said, "This is just the beginning." That's the spirit of belief. It refuses to die. It refuses to surrender. It refuses to accept defeat. Believe when the world says you're not ready, because belief makes you ready. Believe when your bank account is empty, because belief sees wealth before it arrives. Believe when your body is tired, because belief fuels energy that coffee never can. Believe when your heart is broken, because belief reminds you that pain is temporary, but purpose is eternal. Belief is the voice that says, "This moment doesn't define you, your mindset does." You don't need the world to believe in you. You just need one person, you. Because once you do, you become unstoppable. You become the kind of person who makes things happen instead of waiting for them to happen. You stop fearing failure because you understand failure is the fertilizer for growth. You stop fearing judgment because you know belief makes you immune to opinions. You stop fearing the unknown because you've already made peace with uncertainty. People will tell you it's not possible. But remember, everything seems impossible until someone does it. You don't need to know the whole staircase to take the first step. You don't need to see the finish line to start running. You just need to believe that each step matters, that every effort counts. That progress, no matter how small, is still progress. There are moments in life that define you, and those moments are built on one choice. Will you believe or will you quit? The ones who change the world are not the strongest, not the smartest, not the most connected. They're the ones who believed when everyone else stopped. Belief is your superpower, your secret weapon, your silent force. It's the one thing no one can take away from you. They can doubt you, they can block you, they can laugh at you. But they can't stop you if you refuse to stop believing. So when life knocks you down, get up and whisper to yourself, "I still believe." When the dream takes longer than expected, say, "I still believe." When you fail 10 times in a row, say, "I still believe." Because that's when miracles happen. When belief stands firm in the face of evidence. Belief doesn't wait for proof, it creates proof. It doesn't follow trends, it sets them. It doesn't need applause, it builds its own stage. The ones who believed are the ones who built the impossible. They're the reason we fly, the reason we connect, the reason we hope. And now it's your turn. Belief is not just a word, it's your life's power. It's your inner voice saying, "You were born to rise." And when you finally decide to believe, the world will move aside because nothing can stop the person who refuses to stop believing.